Mr. P.W. Miles does say the stranger is Gandalf. This is signaled in the "Follow Your Nose" quote. There is a passage in Peoples of Middle-earth that Gandalf visited Middle-earth early on. This is just kind of...
You've lost audio on my end. I don't know if...
Oh, 1 second. Let me fix that up here. All right, I think we're back.
Yeah,
right.
I think you... Last I heard, we were talking about... I didn't hear you finish the Stranger's Gandalf thing.
Oh, it's just that according to a passage in Peoples of Middle-earth, Gandalf did visit Middle-earth earlier on than when the 5 wizards were sent, even though...
okay, that's...
Even though there's another passage
info.
that says he was the last to arrive of the 5, and so... I don't quite understand. We're gonna see how they try to get this in. Whether or not the "Follow Your Nose" quote is a true signal, I'm not 100% convinced on that. I get where he's coming from, but these are all really neat points to think about going forward.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Unfinished stories. I think we made a mention of this. Unfinished stories can't be finished by anyone but the original source.
No, so some people say that the Wheel of Time, the last books that were finished off after the guy died were better.
Right, and so some people do enjoy the more recent James Bond novels that have come out that are not obviously not by the original author. The way I have to think about it, and this hasn't happened yet, fingers crossed, George R.R. Martin hasn't finished his series yet. And I always think about, like, if he doesn't finish it, should someone else? I don't actually know, because it's going to be a completely different, like, tone. It's hard to capture someone's tone. And so I just don't know how I would feel about someone else. So, like, to this person's thought, like, should someone be allowed to finish a work? Should someone be allowed to carry on a work? I think we all agree someone else should have stepped in and finished the Game of Thrones TV show. So yeah, I struggle with, like, should other people get involved and take over a project when someone can't finish it? I kind of like this. Like, this guy's kind of got the right idea. If you just make your own, like, you take their world and just say, look, this isn't the actual Tolkien world. We're just gonna mess around with it like a sandbox, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons does. If they just start killing off Galadriel, go their own route, a completely alternate timeline. What do you think about that? Is that something you are game for, or is that a deal breaker?
Sorry, you had to repeat. I had a text. I just got distracted.
If they were to say, look, our show's not good the way it is, but what if we kill off Galadriel? We do something huge.
You can't. I mean,
it's a new show. It's not Lord of the Rings now. It's a completely different thing. It already is for a lot of people. So is there anything to be gained from saying,
you're right,
this is clearly...
that is a problem that we have with the show, is like we know Isildur fine.
Yep.
We know nothing's gonna happen to Galadriel.
Most of the main characters cannot die because we know they don't. So there's no tension in those scenes.
Yeah.
Like, is Isildur running into a burning building? I know we're not at that episode yet. No tension, because we see him in the prologue of the original trilogy. So we know what is about to happen here. So there's something, I think, to saying, screw it, we can't make the show. Like, people are constantly mad that we're not following the lore. Let's really not follow the lore, make our own show. And maybe some people will come along for the ride. I
think it's too risky.
You think it's too... Like, look, some of these comments we read, they hate the show already. That's not going to change. They're already at the lowest. Like they think it's a 0 out of 10. So what's to be lost by just saying screw it? We're like, what? Are they going to lose us? Like that's it? Like us and the other crazy hardcore Tolkien fans that are watching this just because? Like, I think you and I still watch. If they killed off Elrond randomly, like Durin the Third kills Elrond in hand-to-hand combat, I think we still watch. I don't think we're done with the show.
I mean, I wouldn't if they killed Elrond. Maybe they killed Galadriel.
Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, it's an interesting comment. I'm not saying do this, but I'm just saying like maybe there's something to be gained by clearly like saying like screw it to the actual lore. This is its own thing. It's its own universe. But so we get this guy here, Panhandler's Paradise.
I had an orange wizard. He drinks a lot.
Well, yeah. So like the idea is, can we deal with the changes?
The go green wizard, tie-dye wizard. Yeah. You know what? Amazon should hire you. So.
There can you want a whole squad of wizards roaming around?
The hacky sack wizard.
So it's funny that this guy is this is a really big setup to the joke, but it's good. So personally,
to explode amnesia. We can handle that.
Yeah, I mean, I get the point. So
well, maybe he did. He just got amnesia again after.
Well, I love the but Gandalf never went east. That's the line that we draw in the sand. So I guess this is like, I guess we might have mentioned this somewhere where, like, are we able to accept these changes? Like some of the smaller changes. And what I'll say is, like, everything changes a little bit. You look at the original trilogy, it's not a complete one-to-one adaptation from the books. This is clearly going in their own direction, and it almost looks unrecognizable. So I appreciate like the craziness like they feel about the show.
Yeah.
And that's why I think if you can, and this is why I'm hopeful, people, like if you can make small changes to the more foundational lore pieces, which I know have already been broken, I know. But if you can start to rebuild that, these other changes, they don't impact it as much. I think it's really about the amount. Like there's so much change happening here that it's putting people off, and they can't look beyond it. And so I sympathize there, but I am also hopeful that by mending some of those changes, it does make the show better. And all I want is to have a fun show at this point. Like I'm not even like I'm not that invested in the
right.
stories
Yeah.
right
I mean,
now.
do I care if Gandalf goes east? Not really. Actually, kind of interested to see east.
Yeah. So like whether or not it's I personally don't want it to be Gandalf, so I'm kind of like this guy. I don't want it to be Gandalf that goes east. I'd rather it be some random Istari.
I bet they're keeping it vague until they probably haven't even made up their mind if it's Gandalf yet.
Or they originally thought it was, and now they're like, oh man, can we really do this? Like, look at the backlash.
Yeah.
So, so then this one, I think we talked about this one a little bit. This is a big year for Lord of the Rings. We are gonna have almost back-to-back movies plus, or we're gonna have a movie that's back-to-back of the Rings of Power season 2. So you're gonna get Rings of Power in the fall, and then we're gonna get movie in early or late 2024, early 2025. And so the question is, that I posed to you, I believe, it's an animated movie. Does that lessen its impact? And like, what does that mean? Like, how excited are you for an animated movie?
I'm excited for a Lord of the Rings animated movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Theatrical, do a good job. I mean, yeah, animated could be a big deal. You know, like.
Yep. And it is cheaper.
People go nuts for like a big Disney animated film.
True. And what's it? Studio Ghibli.
Pixar.
Pixar?
That too. Yeah.
So
Studio
like
Ghibli too. Yeah.
People do like well done animated. I mean, even right now, there's the talk of the Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was an animated TV show they've tried to adapt it to live action twice. The Netflix one seems to be better. I haven't watched it because M. Night Shyamalan's one was so bad that I can't believe anyone would try again. But, you know, animated shows still can have emotional impact, and that's really all you need for it to sell. As long as you get the lore right and you hit the emotional beats right, I'm going to be just as excited as if it were live action. Now, do I prefer live action? Probably, but like, it seems like you can't tell some stories live action. At least that's what it looks like when I'm looking at these people trying to adapt Cowboy Bebop, Avatar: Last Airbender, all sorts of stuff into live action. It's just not working. So maybe there is something to the animated style that allows you to explore certain topics in a way that doesn't seem to resonate with real actors. I don't know. But yeah, I'm still excited about it. I think it's at least going to be fun, if nothing else, because with animated you can have some really cool animated battles that would normally cost a lot of money. And this is where my point is, like, they might have thought about the financial part of it and said, how much can we possibly get from the production company for? Is it really feasible to do a true battle at Helm's Deep the way we want it to be without way more money than we're able to get? So that's where I think their calculations went. All right, and so this is about the Harfoots. Now, you and I have been really hard on the Harfoots. Me, maybe more than you, but I don't know. We're both pretty hard on them. And this is more about this idea of the Hobbit's wandering days, which is mentioned. And Mr. PM or PW Miles is pointing out that this he believes that this is more of Tolkien referencing a Germanic-like people wandering, but just trying to find a new home, not wandering aimlessly the way these Harfoots seem to be. And then once they found their new home, they settled, which the Harfoots don't. They're constantly migrating. In fact, in this episode, I believe, in episode 5,
they completely missed the concept of what the Harfoots were. Okay.
That's the gist of it. Now, I agree. I've thought the Harfoot culture makes no sense. So I would prefer this version, where even if you can start them wandering, and then they find what will be the Shire and settle, and that's it. Way better. This whole, like, we're gonna take your wheels, we're gonna leave you to die, and then say your name at a little bonfire, like, it's messed up. This is not the Hobbits.
You lost audio again, I'm sorry.
That was good. Yeah, so the Hobbits roaming around doesn't work for me. I would rather them just find what will become the Shire and settle. I think that's a better storyline for the Hobbits overall. And it helps their society, which I've been hating on since episode 1. It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, that's about it. That sums up all of the comments we've got. A lot less calling us shills, which is nice because we're now a bit more critical of the show on the second watch. But yeah, let us know if you have any more comments on these topics down below, and we're gonna do another big comment dump once we get enough of them. So see you then.